This is the first video in a series of Endgame Masterclass here on GM Talks. And we're going to start with the very basic, something you have to learn if you want to improve in chess. You simply have to learn this stuff. It's rather difficult to learn and it looks very simple. And I remember when I was like 1600, I thought, I got this. And then in a rapid game, I messed it up and I didn't win when it was won. And in another game, I lost when it was a draw. And then I had to look at it again and again and again. So this video is a short little video on the two most important Rook Endgame positions, the Philidor and the Lucena. And we start out with the Philidor, which you see here. And we're going to end the video with an exercise, so you will also be able to train a little bit in this stuff. It's a difficult exercise, and I'm not sure you will be able to solve it. Okay, this is a well-known typical position from Rook Endings. White has a pawn more. And black is in front of the pawn, which means that in general he's always drawing, but it might be easier or difficult depending on stuff. Here it's black to move, so we will just flip the board and saying, what should black do here? The move you probably all know is this move, taking control over this square and thereby preventing the king from moving forward here, which it would like to do. It would not like to go to g6 anyway. So here white can of course move around with the rook and whatever, but black keeps the rook on this sixth rank and until the pawn moves, and it has to move at some point, and then he goes back and gives checks from behind. And we can see that here white is threatening mate, but it doesn't matter because he's just going to get checks, check. And whenever the king approaches the rook will just go back and threaten the pawn here. It should probably be yellow anyway. So this check is important. So remember this maneuver, taking control here before the king can advance, and when the pawn moves, go back and give checks from behind. And whenever the rook moves, you just go forward with the king. Okay, this is something you should know. Let's just take it from the other side. So you have a better. And here it's white. And if it was white to move, he would play this move here. And it would be more interesting because then this check here would be met by this nasty pawn here, and black is losing because white is threatening this move, and after something like this you just switch the rook to this side and give it from here. So this is very important moment to play this move, e6, go back and give checks, and just remember to give checks and so on, and it's an easy draw. Okay, that was the Philidor position, a must-known endgame that's been known for 300 years. Next one is, she's not gonna say it, is the Lucena. And this is where something went wrong. And white was able to move the pawn forward. Black's king got kicked out, or it was kicked out from the beginning, and we get this position. And this position is the one I messed up with both colors. So better pay attention, especially if you've got 1600. You should be able to do this when someone wake you up in your sleep. You should be able to just say, I'm building a bridge. Bam. So how do you start here? Well, the first thing to notice is you can't build a bridge right now because the king is too close to the pawn. So you have to push the king further away. That was what I messed up. I started to build a bridge before. So you give a check, and the first thing to notice is the king cannot go here because of this move, and queen is coming. Okay, so the king cannot go to f6. There's no checks on the f file when it goes to f6, so the king just goes to the side. So the king has to go out here, and now it's far away enough away, so we can start building a bridge. And how do we do that? Probably a lot of you will know this, but Rook G4, excellent move. And it looks strange. What is this move? We say that, okay, Rook D2 prevents King from coming out. King goes out the other way. Doesn't matter which way. If you go to F2, you just go to D7. Check. Here, notice Black is threatening this move. Check. Here. And you say, White is not threatening anything yet, but let's say that Black plays something like this, then of course this wins. If Black plays something like this, then you could play something like this and get the bridge further on and be ready for E5. But the most common move is Rook check again, King goes to E5 and threatening this move, and after this move we build a bridge, made sure the King is sheltered from the checks, and next move White will queen with E2 to E7 and winning. So this is the Lucena, and this is a must-know ending, and you should be able to do it when someone wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, next is, I'm not gonna save it, I'm just gonna and here we are, and we are White, and we have had some sort of mixed up with an F pawn, but it gives some of the tricks you need to learn. Rook endings are a little bit different than most other endings. They are kind of difficult to understand. So what to do here? How to play here? Well, first of all, one thing you need to know is that if the King, something like this, is a draw because of the F pawn. I will go into that in a later video. So you have to play, by the way, it was White to move. You have to play this move, and so this also explains why this is not winning due to this move. Or it could still be winning because you can still play King F6. So the best move is King F6. It does not only threaten this move, but also threatens this move, and making this King in the corner into a trouble piece. And by the way, this King here, the bad King here, is a part of Black's trouble. So check. Because at this moment White has a fantastic move that wins. And it's not easy to see. The thing is, you need to shield the King from checks, and you can do that by playing a special move. Have you found the move? Okay, here it is. Rook G6. By the way, this example was stolen from Dvoretsky's Endgame manual, and he stole it somewhere else. And everybody who's doing anything on Endgame steals from each other, so I don't feel bad about it. And a lot of examples in this masterclass will come from Dvoretsky and Carsten Müller and Spielman and so on. This is just how it is, standing on the shoulder of giants. It's a very good book, by the way, this Endgame manual. Rook G6. Great move. The idea is after King H7, Rook C6. Notice this one because you're gonna need it in a later video. This is a typical trick, attacking the Rook, seemingly just blundering it. But if Black takes it, then White will get a new queen, and King wins against Rook and King, and especially if you're a human, because humans blunder the Rook in like 4 moves, always. The computer is more difficult. You have to play really precise to beat the computer, but it still wins. It's always winning. Anyway, so here he will have to go, and after this you have this move, and you got this square, and what are we threatening now with White? What is the idea for White here? How is he going to get this pawn going? The simple answer is this, and this move here is coming, and after something like this and here and give check, White just goes everywhere down until there are no more checks, and then he will queen with f7, check and mate. So these was the Philidor position and the Lucena position, and an exercise on the Lucena position or something like it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sure you will be able to use this in your games if you didn't know it already. Or it's also could be a refresher. It's always nice to have sometimes because you forget this kind of theory. And thank you for watching. This was GM Talks.